Let's get it. Hut, one, hut, two, hut, three, hut. Let's get it. Hut, one, hut, two, hut, three. Let's get it. Hut, one, hut, two, hut. Y'all know what that means. Back to the crib, I am back to the game. Number one draft pick, who's on your team? For the price of winning, you pay with the pain. Just for the touchdown, fans are screaming. Play that deep, keep your head in the game. Cause win or lose, man, you're still a champion. Gotta stay focused, bring home that way. It's fall, y'all know what that means. Back to the grid, I ain't back to the game. Number one draft pick, who's on your team? For the price of winning, we pay with the pain. Just scored a touchdown, fans are screaming. Play that deep, keep your head in the game. Cause win or lose, man, you still a champion. Gotta stay focused, bring home that way.
What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? This is your boy Tavon Mason, and I'm back for another episode. This is episode 5, Sports Talk with former New York Jet Tavon Mason. And I had to bring my boys back, Smiz and my boy Vils, the Office Boys from New York. Thank y'all for letting me be on this song. Let's Get It is a football anthem we came up with. YouTube gave me a little issues with it, but I'm featured on this song. But man, I appreciate the fellas putting that together. Again, you can go check this out on Apple Music. It's on Spotify. Make sure y'all follow Smiz and Vils on Twitter, Instagram. They've been making music for a while, and we joined together to make that song. But hey, as y'all can see from my thumbnail, from my picture, this is Sports Talk with Tavon Mason, NFL Combine wrap-up. I'm not going to do the whole Combine. I'm not going to keep y'all on, but I wanted to go over some things that I saw that was just crazy, out of this world, especially for this year's draft. And I know, because I'm one of those people that said, too, a lot of those times that were ran, a lot of the routes that were ran, the throws that were thrown, it was in a controlled environment, being in the inside in the dome in Indianapolis. Those 40s was off the chart, not only by wide receivers and DBs. We had some linebackers and running backs, tight ends that ran some nice 40-yard dash times. And I just want to give y'all the top 5 40s that I found out, that I saw at Jizz Combine. Kalen Barnes, he beat out his own teammate. I remember the first day I saw Tyquan Thornton run and looked flawless, and this dude ran a 4.28. His own teammate, cornerback at Baylor, Kalen Barnes, cornerback, man, this dude comes out and runs a 4.23, floating, right? And I'm gonna say the same thing. The 40s, we don't run, and I say we because I played the NFL. Y'all can see my NFL alumni hat. Played the New York Jets, and it's in the title. But we would never run a set 40-yard in football. But that's how they time us and rank us based on where we want to get drafted, or where they want to draft us and where we can play on the field. But a 4.23. Number 2 came Tariq Woodland, cornerback from UTSA, University of Texas at San Antonio. Man, this dude clocked in a 4.26, and that was the fastest cornerback time. Second fastest, I apologize, second fastest behind Barnes. And then we had Tyquan Thornton, wide receiver from Baylor. We had Velus Jones, wide receiver from University of Tennessee, 4.31. And the rounders off top 5, Calvin Austin III, wide receiver from Memphis, a 4.32. That's just the top 5. I just wanted to get into wide receiver, cornerback. We had some running backs on that list that had some 4.3s and 4.4s, but man, that joint was rolling. But we can't leave out one guy, and I know if I do, people gonna get on me. I had somebody on Twitter ask me about those Maryland boys, but Nick Cross, safety from Maryland, man, he had the fastest time as a safety, 4.34 seconds. That's floating as a safety. 9 times out of 10, or a lot of times, we think about safeties not being as fast, but can cover ground because of angles, because of knowing the coverage, and just knowing the field at free safety. But this kid dropped a 4.3440, the fastest time for a safety from the University of Maryland. But I also wanted to have my notable mentions in a 40. All right. We talked notable mentions. I pulled up Jordan Davis. Kid is 6'6", 340 pounds. And this kid ran a 4.78 and a 1.68 in the first 10 yards. That's moving. I know that wasn't the fastest time for a D lineman, but to be that big, that tall, and be able to get out and move. And if you saw the combine and watching his highlights in the video, man, this cat was moving and grooving. 4.78 at a 1.68 in the first 10 yards. Not bad at all. But I also like to give up for our edge rusher, Amari Barno from Virginia Tech. Edge rusher ran a 4.36. Yeah, I say again, 4.36 as an edge rusher. That's moving coming off that edge. We have seen smaller DNs, smaller, especially those edge rushers. We look at Von Miller. Guys are starting to get a little smaller in size to be able to beat those large tackles. So, question I'm gonna ask: are we going to start slimming down or getting smaller tackles that can move back, that can click slide? Because we saw this past season, T.J. Watt, man, he was killing people off that edge and getting back in that backfield. That's why he broke that, tied that record that he did this past season. But are we going to see more smaller edge rushers to go against these tackles? Again, I say again, Von Miller and what he did this season to help the Rams win the Super Bowl. I go to tight end, another notable mention. So we got another Maryland boy, University of Maryland boy. But for a tight end, we got Chig Okonkwo, tight end from University of Maryland. He said this. He said he's going to be the best tight end in the draft and best player in the draft falls in his position. This cat come out and runs a 4.52, and I think that was zero point 0.2 seconds lower than what he did. I think he did a 4.54 starting off and finished with a 4.52. That's rolling, like insane rolling. All right. And I take another edge rusher, Sam Williams. I watched this guy's highlights and I get more in depth on some of these guys, but his 40 time was a 4.46. All right. So relentless rusher off the edge. Watch his highlights. Man, this kid like nonstop, keep banging, and he goes east to west, or he goes sideline to sideline, like they say in football, and he tracks down a quarterback, running back, whoever it is. But again, you got another edge rusher running a 4.46 in a 40-yard dash. So to go back to Jordan Davis, and everybody's seen him, shout out to Georgia winning their national championship, and just the way he moves. Again, I said he didn't have the fastest 40 for the D lineman, but for him to be that big, 6'6", 341, and he looked good in his stance. We all know when it comes to the 40, you get off, stand low, not popping up too early, and having a good stride length. I know my coach, shout out to my trainer, former trainer, Coach Troy Jones. He's down there in Florida at the House of Athlete. He trained a lot of guys. I think some of the guys that won the Super Bowl this past year. But he definitely worked us to death on that start, being compact and then firing out. And watching that video, Jordan Davis got out. But the kid can move, man. Again, on the field, he was another one that was relentless, whether he stayed inside on the nose, on the guards or the center. He also was moving around, but even doing double teams, he can get off the double team and scrape down the line to get running backs, to get quarterbacks, and he can move. A bigger version of Aaron Donald to me, the impact he had and just his speed and moving around. Then again, I said Sam Williams. I talked about his 40, but the way he moved, watching this film at Ole Miss this past year, this kid just had a motor. So, we're gonna have a lot of defensive line going in this first round between them, offensive tackle. You just saw Jacksonville get that prize last year, their quarterback last year. So they definitely got to find some guys that can protect him down there in Jacksonville, and just in general across the board. The Ravens, I know they probably gonna look at some offensive linemen for Lamar this year to protect him so he can be able to get that ball out, when he coming back from his injury. I wasn't gonna leave out, the big name in this draft, especially for D lineman, Aiden Hutchison. I got to see him play. He's another kid that got a crazy motor. That's why I said this is going to be a big draft for a D lineman. Standout edge rusher. He's another big kid. This kid's 6'7", 260. He had a 4.74 40. He ran the 20 at 4.15, three cone drill, 6.73, 36-inch vertical, 11 feet 7 inches on the broad jump, and he looked fluent on his drills too. I know one thing. I bounced back. Jordan Davis was tall. You can hear the guys telling him low pad level. He definitely gonna have to work on that. And I know everybody can say, well, he's 6'6". How can he work on that? Again, just staying low until he have to explode out, and that's gonna help him this year in the NFL, especially going against these guards and these tackles. But he gonna dominate. I think Aiden's gonna dominate as well. Again, to me, similar to T.J. Watt, the way he come off that edge, and it's going to be definitely interesting to see where he goes at. Whether it's going to be Detroit Lions, and they're definitely going to have to, if they don't have one already, have somebody that partner with him that can come off that edge to take some of that attention off of him. The way the Rams did with bringing Von Miller over, take some of that attention off of Aaron Donald. You saw what Aaron Donald did, bull rush, and got that Super Bowl victory. I continue on with Aiden Hutchison's teammate David Ojabu. Impresses the combine scouts. Also, he had a 4.55 40. another guy off the line just rolling. 4.45 and a 20 and a 35-inch vertical. So, these guys, again, it's changed and evolved years ago with the D-line being as fast as they are. So, again, I asked that question. Yeah, we want big and strong O-line, definitely to protect our quarterbacks. Will we see stronger and more lean tackles to be able to play against these Von Millers? So we saw what Von Miller did in the Super Bowl and NFC divisional round, just killing these tackles off the edge. But we'd also know that if you go hand on, if you don't have a game plan, these tackles grab you, ass over. But we saw with Von Miller, he was getting in, he would set him up and boom, pop him and get back there. Then we go on to the quarterbacks. I know that was a big one as well, other than Big Jordan Davis and Aiden Hutchison, some of our wide receivers. But the quarterbacks were a big one. Desmond Ritter for 4.52. I apologize. I ain't gonna take that from you, Ritter. But 4.52 and a 40 fastest quarterback time. We know Malik Willis didn't run. A couple of quarterbacks didn't run. 36-inch vertical, so he can get up 10.7 broad. I really don't really care about the vertical for the quarterbacks. More so that throwing if they make those throws they need to make. He threw the ball well. I definitely watched that. He threw the ball well, had a good deep ball, and was good on his slants, good on his out routes, good on the digs, the hooks, the corner routes. All right, I know that's like some of the big plays. Everybody get a shot to throw that shot down and fill that deep ball. He had a good deep ball, but can you put it in on hitches, like 3rd and 4, and find that option route, that open tight end that hooks right over linebacker level? Can you get it in there the way you need to get it in there? Kenny Pickett, we saw what he did at Pitt this year. 4.73 40. Again, I'm not worried about that. 33.5 vert, not worried about that. 10 by 1 broad, not worried about that. But his release was smooth, and we know that during the season on his throws, and he threw those hooks. Again, those routes that sometimes we forget about because we want those deep ball routes down the field. We want that excitement. But the hooks, the slants, the corner routes, the out routes, he was hitting them and getting them out very fluent with throwing the ball. Definitely had a good deep ball. And Sam Howell, to me, that was he's like the dark horse. I got to watch him against, he played against my Cavaliers where I went to school at and beat us. But just watching some of him throughout the season, no, he did not test. He just wanted to throw the ball. He had some zip. He definitely had zip on his ball, especially on a slant. Good placement of the ball. And you asked what I mean by good placement. If you throw in that slant, depending on the coverage, sometimes you're going to have an outside backer dropping right in that hook to curl. So can he get it before the hook, or do he have to go to the second window? So he was putting the ball, even though it was on air, putting the ball right at the wide receiver's chest so that only one can catch it was the wide receiver. And last but not least, Malik Willis. All right, so Malik Willis didn't run the ball, didn't test. Again, doesn't need to. Don't need to know how you run the 40. We saw how agile and quick he was on the field. Over 800 yards rushing, The same way with Kenny Pickett, you know what I mean, had some good rushing yards. Sam Howell looked good running. We know Desmond Ridder can run. Malik Willis, smooth again, on a release. Had some zip on the ball, and this deep ball was definitely good. You know, definitely would like to see. Looking forward to seeing these guys once mini camp come, and they do got their competition. They put the ball where it need to be. That either the receiver gonna catch it or go out of bounds. DB can't get to it. Troy Anderson, another guy, Troy Anderson and Christian Anderson, uh, from two linebackers, 4'4", 40s, both of them. They had good feet on their linebacker drills, smooth, smooth running. And they were 1 and 2 with that 40 times. Troy was first and Christian came after him. So, it definitely will be a pack to me, defensive draft this year. Defensive draft this year. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that, especially with me being a wide receiver. It's funny to say that they're going to be a heavy defense. But definitely, we know the quarterback's going to get out there. Definitely not going to go number one. Jacksonville don't need a quarterback. They got their quarterback. But starting to build up around their guy down in Jacksonville, to make sure that he's protected down in Jacksonville, and also to give him some weapons. So you definitely have to build up that offensive line. If you don't build that offensive line, I don't care what you do, what type of receiver you have, what type of quarterback you got. It ain't gonna matter if you don't got them big boys up front or them boys up front that can protect them. Like last year, it was decent, right? But we still got to build up that offensive line. To me, that's where it starts at. It starts at the O line and the D line when it comes to football. I know everybody want the wide receiver, receivers, and they want the running backs, they want the linebackers. But if you don't got the line for like Trevor Lawrence, it don't matter. You don't have nobody to protect them. What does it matter? So you got to build up that beef up front and give Trevor Lawrence some guys to throw it to, some running backs, even add a tight end in there, a young tight end that can build, that he can throw with. He got his guy that came with him from Clemson last year, and so definitely looking to see what they do next year. What they're gonna do next year, adding some more beef to it. They had a rocky season, of course, with that quarterback. With that coach. But hey, we're gonna let that slide and just go on to the next thing. But I do want to round this thing off, and I caught this like last minute. This was insane, and a lot of times we don't pay attention to kickers, and everybody's famous word is he's a kicker. Watching the I Am Athlete podcast, and I remember Channing saying, he's just a kicker. You know what I mean? And and it was hilarious to me. Channing Crowder was like, it's hilarious to me. Like, he's just a kicker. But man, I don't know if you guys paid attention to Matt Reza. San Diego State punted a 80-yard punt at the combine on yesterday. So that's amazing. That's boom. And I just saw a note that Miami might take a chance and draft him in the draft. You know what I mean? So that's crazy. But 80-yard kick. If you can get that, how if you're watching this and you're a football fan and watch football, just how bad that can flip the field for you. Having a good kicker, having a good punter. Not only having a good field goal kicker like the Ravens had with Justin Tucker, but having a good punter. But again, that's just my wrap up. I look at the combine not in full because of me. I would like to see different elements outside. I know these guys are gonna have their pro dates. We might get Malik Willis to run at his pro date at his school. But the combine was to show who they got on the platform, got on stage to showcase, and those guys showed out. Some guys, of course, didn't do well, but that's not the last thing. So they're gonna have their pro dates. Sit back, get ready for that, and it's go time. Hey y'all, this is Tavon Mason, and y'all on live sports talk with Tavon Mason, New York Jet wide receiver. Hey, sports episode 6 coming up soon. But hey, y'all for tuning in. Peace.